Hey everyone, welcome to another live with InVideo. This is a very special segment where we sit down once a week with one video that we've absolutely loved during the week, and we break down the exact steps and the exact process that went into putting it together. Right? This week we are sitting down with a video that's been made by Melodie Licht. She's actually one of our old timers. She's been an integral part of the community. She's super helpful, super supportive, and she definitely knows how to create some videos that are thumb stopping, right? She put together a video explaining the different animations that we had, which we were blown away with. We couldn't figure out how she did it. I actually had to go back to my design team and say, hey, can you replicate this and show me how she must have done this, right? So I'm actually bringing her on the show with a very, very selfish intention, wherein I want to pick her brain and understand how she's been able to do that, right? So I'm going to get her on the show in a minute. But before we do that, I just wanted to go over how you guys can also submit your videos and actually come on the live, right? We use a very simple hashtag called Made with InVideo, which will allow you to submit your videos for us to review, right? And every week we sit down and go through every single video that's been submitted with that hashtag, and we pick the ones that we love the best, right? So if you are someone who's been creating in videos very regularly, please by all means post it on the community with that hashtag, and we'd love to have you over and take us through the process of how you constructed it. With that having said, let's actually get Melodie to the show. Hey Melodie, hi.
Hi, Al.
How you been?
Just fine, just fine. Looking forward to this, I think.
Well, I'm for everyone who's watching in. We actually were going to have Melodie a couple of weeks ago, but unfortunately, she has had some medical issues, and she's still been kind enough to actually reschedule it and kind of make it today. So thanks a lot, Melodie, for agreeing to do that.
No problem.
Okay, perfect. So before we even dive into the process of how you put this video together, what I'm going to do is play the video in itself, right? I think it'll be amazing for people to actually see how the end video panned out, and then we can go over the exact steps that you use and the thought process that you use to put it together.
Okay.
Sounds good?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Let's just go with
Okay.
it.
Let's play your video. Awesome. So every time I see that, I still scratch my head on how some of the things in that video were done. Right. So I'm sure we'll get the secret sauce today. But let's start with the concept of the video. What is the end goal? What is the use case here that you were trying to achieve? What is the objective?
Well, my objective was simply to learn animation because I was relatively new to InVideo when you came out with the new animations. And of course, I wanted to win the contest. It was a challenge.
So the challenge does work for at least some members, if not all.
Oh, yeah. And it was an opportunity to learn. It was a big opportunity.
Got it. So for everyone who's very new to InVideo, we actually launched a whole bunch of animations, right? Not just for text elements, but for pretty much all elements. We introduced a few animation effects that Melodie is referring to, and we know we had a lot of fun basically playing around with them when we were just about to release them. And a lot of the members in the community actually absolutely love them. Melodie, of course, is one of them, right? But okay, so Melodie, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to allow you to share your screen, and then you can just help us understand the exact steps that you took to kind of put that together scene by scene.
Okay,
Yeah?
well, that sounds good.
Okay.
So you have my 5 steps on there. Can you share that screen?
Yes, I do.
Okay. I have to tell you all that originally it took me 3 or 4 days to put that video together because it was all brand new and because there wasn't a guide to follow. So I was kind of creating the guide. So originally I wanted to create one of those word puzzles where you circle the words as you find them and have InVideo be the word. Well, I never put together one of those before. So it was like, oh, okay, this is overwhelming. I can't do it this way. And that's how I wound up with just the InVideo word. And then I thought about, what does InVideo do for me, or what is it? Like if you were advertising or promoting. So I chose words that fit with what InVideo was to me.
Got it.
And that's how I came to that part. So now let's go back to that slide with the 5 steps.
Yep.
So step number 1 is choosing the keyword. My keyword was InVideo. And then to create a phrase, to do that, you have to find those words and see if you can put them together in a sentence that would sound logical.
Yep.
So once you have that, that's your foundation, and everything else worked from that. So the next step was to create the text and the mask elements, apply the animation, set the timing, and boom, then you're done. Now it sounds real simple, but there's a lot of finesse to this, and I know you guys out there have it. You're patient like I am. So that being said, I'm going to stop this screen and share the next one, and then start taking you through the process that I did and simplified for you.
Sure. I'm hoping that by the end of this all, people are not going to need for us 2 days or 3 days to actually put this together. I'm hoping that time will come down to less than an hour once they understand the exact workflow of how you went about it.
Well, once I fine-tuned everything, I can put together one in 15 minutes or less.
That's insane. Okay.
And what I'm going to share with you today is the 15 minutes or less process.
Got it.
Not the 3 days. So let's see what I got here. Okay, we did that one. Okay, can you see this build your own scene?
I can't. You'll have to share the specific screen that you're on.
Okay, let me share the screen. Chrome tab.
In the meanwhile, I'm just quickly going to hop on to comments, and I'm going to see who all have joined us here, because I know there are a lot of Melodie Licht fans in the house. So there you go. Payal is definitely joining in. She says hello. Okay, we've got Chad, who's basically dropped by. Chad is another old timer. Thanks a lot, Chad, for dropping by and saying hello. I know you've got a super busy schedule, so thanks a lot for doing that. There are a few people who've actually loved your video as well. There's Jenny here, who has just come by to say hi. Awesome. So we've got your screen. I'm just going to put that back here.
Okay. So we're starting with this screen. It's a brand new project. I chose wide, and I'm using the blank template. So the first thing that I did was to put in my keyword. What keyword are you going to use? I'm going to just take you through this the same way I would do it.
Yep.
If I can type. Okay, and I'm going to move that up to the top so it's kind of out of my way. And this is just a guide for you to be following. Now the next text is going to be the phrase that I came up with, the individual words. And I'm copy pasting from a Word document to make it a little bit quicker.
Yep.
So now this is just here right now for you just to look at and remember what you're doing.
Okay.
Okay. So step number 1, allow 2 seconds for each main word that you have in your phrase. So we have 7 words here. So that's a minimum of 14 seconds. So you want to change your scene right away to the 14 seconds. I'm going to throw in an extra one just in case.
Yep.
And the reason I do that, because after you've added everything in here, if you have to lengthen the scene, you have to lengthen every element on the timeline or shorten every element. So make it a little bit longer to start with, because you can always cut it off and trim the video at the end.
Got it.
We want to start with that. Now the next thing is find your longest word. And my longest word is instantly. Okay. So we're going to add a text box. And the longest word is instantly. You're going to do it in all caps. And you're going to put a space in between each letter.
Okay.
All right. Now you have to pick the style. And so what did I use? Let's go here.
So that's essentially you playing around and selecting the right font that can make this look even better.
Right. And so what you're going to do is you're going to kind of scroll through to find a solid block kind of font.
Got it.
And of course I did write it down, but I can't find it right at the moment. But
I think you can go with any one of those. The one.
Well, let's go with this one.
Yeah.
That one looks good and it looks pretty solid. So another thing I want to tell you, depending on choosing your fonts, if you can find a mono font that has the same, where each letter takes up the exact same amount of space rather than proportional, that will work better so that the letters all line up. But these have worked pretty well right here. So, okay, now you have it all. Now you have your first word. It's the longest word. And the reason I had you do that is so that when we do this and stretch it out, that doesn't go off the screen. Now, it's a little bit large, so we're going to drop this one down to 60. Because it can't go off the screen. Now, the other thing is, these letters have to fit in video.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. The next thing I did after that was changing the size. And if you want more space between your letters, if it's a short word, you change the line heights. You want your text aligned so it's in the center of the box.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hold on one second. I'm just checking my notes here.
Sure. So for everyone who's watching us, all of these editing features are actually very easily accessible for you on the right edit panel. All you have to do is select the text box or the element. In this case, it is the text box that contains the word instantly, and you'll have all of these edit options open up on the right, and you can just play around with them. Right. So super easy to use.
All right. So the next step in this, and I'm only doing this with one word, and you'll see the benefit of this shortly, is setting the animation.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I wanted to come in character,
mm-hmm.
and I selected blur and curl.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, hold on one second, because there's two blurs. So it's blur and curl with the x-axis, which goes vertical. Y-axis goes horizontal. So if you were going to set up your image going horizontal, you would want to choose the other axis.
Yep.
The duration I set for 3.
Okay. So that means that it'll take about 3 seconds for the entire word to appear.
So then you can just play it through and see if it's going the way you want it to go. And it does. Next step, which I forgot, was to delete the music because we don't want to keep hearing that the whole time you're working on it. Okay, so now that it's set up the way that we want it, we're going to copy the text box for the number of words you have.
Got it.
So we have 7 words. We're going to copy this 6 more times.
So again, for everyone who's watching, you can just use your keyboard shortcuts. You can do a Control-C and a Control-V if you're using a Windows machine. You can do a Command-C, Command-V if you're using a Mac, and it'll just copy-paste any element on the canvas.
Great. Okay, so now your next step would be to replace all those words.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on one second. Can you see the screen?
Yeah, I can.
Where it says keyword in video?
No, it doesn't. So I can still see the edit screen.
All right, so I need to stop that screen.
Sure.
And share the next screen.
Sure. I'm actually again just going to jump back to some new members that have joined in. So Jackie says, thank you, Jackie, for coming and stopping by. I know she's another member who's super active in the community. There's Kate, although she tagged the wrong couple hours, which is very interesting. But well, thanks, Kate. Thanks for joining us. Uh, okay, we've also got Esther who's joined us. Thanks, Esther, for joining in. I hope this ends up being useful. But okay, back to Melody.
Okay, let's see what you see on the screen there. I need to share that screen. Let's see if this is the one. Nope, that's not the one. It gets confusing when you can't change the tab to what you want.
Yeah, I know. That's unfortunately just the way that the streaming software works.
Give me one more second here.
Yep.
Okay.
So we have a Facebook comment here that I'm going to address in the meanwhile, which is that someone's spoken about how it's very annoying that if you want to lengthen the scene timing, it automatically extends all the existing asset timings. There needs to be a way to add time to the end of a scene that does not affect the existing assets and just creates a blank area at the end of the scene. Thank you for tagging Harsh on this. I am definitely going to take this up. I know exactly what you're saying. I'm sorry I can't see your name, so I don't know who this is. But I 100% agree. I know this can be slightly inconvenient. And what we are going to make sure is we are going to make sure that there is an option for you to be able to kind of control that, right? So I'm going to take this up with Harsh. Thanks a lot for bringing this to the forum. And thanks, Chad, for addressing that. Okay, Melody, do we have a scene?
Yeah, let's go ahead and share this one. I'll work from this one. Okay, so once I had the one word finished and I copied it, then I went in and I changed all the words in the text.
Mm-hmm.
No, I didn't want to do that. Get back to where I was.
So you basically just copy pasted it and then you changed the words.
Then I changed the words. Yeah, now I lost my stuff. Hold on, I'll get control of this again.
No worries. John, thank you for actually sharing that feedback with us. I am going to actually take that up with Harsh. Don't worry about it. I'm sure he agrees too. So he's basically going to look into this. Okay, so while Melody is basically going to try and catch a hold of the correct screen, what I'm going to just let you guys know is a quick heads up that again, so a lot of the things that are being shared here are actually accessible for you. It's just a matter of you going and playing around with InVideo and just fidgeting around, and you will act. So I'm sure Melody also did not actually figure all of these pieces right from the word go. She actually did kind of play around. She saw which effect actually panned out really well with this. Even in terms of animation effects and things like that, it's actually the best way to go about this is just try out whatever effect you think can work, and then just with a bit of trial and error, you'll be able to get the exact effect that you want.
Okay, I'm going to have to go back to the other screen. We'll just take it from there because I got myself all mixed up now, and it doesn't show you. Okay, so we'll be back at this one.
Sure.
Okay, so where are we on there?
Yep.
Okay, so once I got all of these set up,
and
I changed the words so that the words would be animate, design, promote, dynamic, engaging video instantly. So the next step, after doing all of that and changing the words, was to go to the advanced timeline.
And control the in and out times.
And control the in and out and put them in the order. I wanted them to come in the order of the phrase, which meant that each one of the words would come in at a different time. They would not be one right after the other.
Got it.
So to help do that, you just change, well, not lock. Oh, I know what I did. I locked all of them.
Yeah. Now they are in lock, so you can just hold on to them and then move.
So now they're unlocked. Now they're locked.
You can just hold them and drag them. Yeah.
Yeah, you can hold and drag them. But what I wanted to say was that I changed all of the text. So I knew exactly what the word was.
I
So
know, exactly.
if this word needed to come down here, and for some reason I don't see that available right at the moment.
Hmm. No, so if you actually change the text for the words, you will be able to see all of the words lined up. And then what she's basically trying to do is, why don't you show them how do you actually control the in and out times for any
Okay.
particular word?
All right. So you have your first word here, and that's
Hmm.
right here. So what we're going to do, that's going to come in first.
Yeah.
And this is fade in. So this would be the second word to come in. And all I did was move it over about half a second. And I kind of went up like that and just kind of eyeballed it.
Got it. And
And then once you
with
see
a half a second difference.
what,
At the difference of half a second.
yeah, so you can see how they're falling in one after
Yeah.
the other. So
Yeah.
it was about half a second. And then you
Got
continue
it.
doing that across. Okay, once the longest word came in, which was instantly.
Hmm.
Now let's see, I'll show you how I did this. You play it, you wait, and you're sitting up here on the pause, and now that word just finished coming through.
Hmm.
And then you look at what time it came in. It was at 3:64.
Hmm.
So in the next part of what I had to do, it was to create the colored letters. So I'm going to create a couple of the colored letters and then show you how I lined them up.
Sure.
So to create the colored letters, you use enhancer and you use mask.
Okay.
And then you scroll down to where the letters are. Okay, we'll pick the I
Hmm.
and we'll do the N. I'm only going to do two of them because this could get real time consuming.
Yeah.
And we'll get rid of the S. Well, we will get rid of the S.
So for a lot of people who have never used masks, it's a very interesting way for you to kind of showcase visuals within those letters. So a mask is nothing but that, right? It's a shape, and you can restrict. So you can actually restrict your footage or your visuals within that shape, right? That's the power of masks.
Right. Okay, so the next step after I did this was to go to media,
Mm-hmm.
select image, and I wanted a multicolored background. And depending on what colors you're into, you can just choose any of them. Let's choose this one. I would put this on the middle letter. We don't have all the letters here, but I would put it in the middle. And then from on the left side, I'd pick one color for the left, one color for the right, so that you
Got it.
don't have an unbalanced color scheme.
Got it.
Now, if you were going to use all blue, that would be different. It wouldn't make any difference where you put them. But in this case, you don't want all of your yellows on the left and your reds on the right. So you
Got
kind
it.
of move around like that. And for the next one, let's just choose a different one. You just lay it over and drop it in.
Yep.
Okay. So now you're at this point where now you have to resize them. I use the bottom as a guide
Mm-hmm.
and resize them down. You can see that little blue line that comes across. So you
Yeah.
know you're getting here about the same size. Now these are still a little too large. So you just make them approximately where they need to be without covering up the other letters
Okay.
below and above. If that's a problem, you can go back in and change your line spacing to make it a little bit better. Now I'm just throwing these letters up here just to give you the idea. And you use your keyboard arrows to position them as close as possible to the center. It really doesn't make a difference whether they're exactly on center.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now if I were to play this, you can see the white letters that are underneath.
Yeah.
So what I did about that was I went and I got a shape. I chose a solid shape, which was the rectangle.
Mm-hmm.
All right, stretched it out to cover all the letters I needed.
Mm-hmm.
Change the width so that it would simply cover those letters and nothing more.
Understood.
All right, and so then I went into layers and made sure that this was behind, the black box was behind everything. Where'd it go? So it's behind all the letters.
Okay.
All right, then with the black box, now that's a time thing.
Got it. Got it.
I'm going to rename this black box because it will be important.
Got it.
All right, so now we know that this letter, the N, needs to come in where the last, where instantly ended. So I'm going to play it again because I didn't write it down. Well, I'm looking at the middle letter. We're just going to say it came in at 563. Let's just say that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so at 563, or approximate, you want the letter to start coming in, the mask.
Mm-hmm.
So here would be the first mask, and there would be the second mask. They're all going to follow each other, but they have to come in after the last instantly. So now if you play it, you'll see that the letters come in after the word has ended. And because it's on a, because it doesn't come in all instantly,
Got it.
you have to allow for the time for the word to unfold. And when it completely unfolds, then you have the letters come in. And then that's what you do with each of the masks. You drag them over. So when the last letter was in,
Mm-hmm.
over at the end, if we had all the words here,
Mm-hmm.
that would be the time that all the words disappear except for the mask. So for instance, this is my first word, or yeah, say this is my first word.
Mm-hmm.
And the last colored element came in here. So now I want to drag this over so the up and the vertical words now start disappearing from the left to the right. But now, instead of having them disappear the way they came in, so they said the phrase, now I want them all to disappear from left to right. So I took the words, moved them back down in order so they would disappear from left to right. So each word has done, it's going to disappear right after the other. So then again, you're dragging your timeline. That's basically basically the whole scene. Now the next scene, I don't know. I want to see. Do I have that available?
You can. So if you will actually switch back to the scene views, you will actually be able to see all the scenes.
No, because that isn't the main video. I have to go. Once again, I have to go and find it.
Got it. Got it. But okay, so before we get there, I think the animation effect on that is very similar, right? So what I wanted to do here is I wanted to actually take a moment and kind of go over everything that we've done so far, right? So so that people know like of the whole 9 yards of everything that we've been able to achieve. So first things first, she's actually just figured out her script, right? Which is she's figured out. Okay, I'm just going to bring us back on the screen. What she's done is she's actually figured out her script and her keyword, which was InVideo in this case, and then she's figured out all the other adjectives that will go with it, right? And then she panned it out on the screen, and then she said that, okay, now if I want to bring this to life, how do I do that? And the style that Melodie picked up was more of kinetic typography, wherein she's basically playing around with the fonts and things like that, and how text comes in and at what time does it come, right? Next up, what she did is she actually figured out a style. So she thought, okay, you know what? I'm going to basically bring these characters or these words in one by one, and then I'm going to have them reveal InVideo behind them, right? So what she did is she figured out, she wrote the first word in a text box. She basically made it vertically aligned. I'm just going to switch back to our screen. Okay, so Melodie, you'll have to continue sharing your screen so that I can just keep toggling between them.
Okay, hold on one second. I didn't know you were going to go back to it. and I removed that one. So we're just going to pop this one up.
Sure.
There. Now that's
Awesome.
the original.
So,
that's the original.
Got it. So she basically ended up making all the words vertical. She basically just kind of dragged and dropped, resized the box, right, the text box, and that's something that you can do on the canvas, right? Once she positioned it, and once she positioned the first word, she actually duplicated it into multiple text boxes, and then she changed the words within them, right? This is to make sure that all the text boxes have the same effect, right? Which is the animation effect that she chose, which was that they blur in, right? And that's something that she again chose from the right panel. And once all of that was done, that's when she basically started figuring out how does she bring in the characters in video, which were in another color. And that's where she hopped on to masks, right? Which is on the left hand side. So there are a whole bunch of masks that you can use. She essentially used the character masks, which are actually super powerful if you're trying to do anything with kinetic typography, right? And she aligned all of them, and then she added with really colorful visuals to that. That's how she was able to get to the point where InVideo came in and colored text after all of her other words came in, right? Awesome. I also think that we need to have a special mention for layers and the power of what they are able to achieve, right? So if you just hover over the tab that is right next to the edit tab, you'll be able to see that all of the elements that you have in that scene are actually laid down one after the other, right? Every single text box that you have, every single element that you have in your frame, including your background, including your logo, will be there. Now, if you want to control the in and out times for a particular element, you can literally just click on that element and the timeline at the bottom will become contextual to that, right? You can also do that via layers. So if you feel like there is a particular layer that you want to control, as soon as you click on that, you'll see that the timeline for that particular element appears. And that's how you can control when it comes in and when it goes out. But you can also change the position of these elements in terms of which element is in the front and which element is way back after all the elements, right? And it's very easy for you to do that again using layers. But yeah, I think Melody, those are pretty much the elements that we have utilized here. I think it's about making sure that the text alignment is right, and then leveraging the timeline to time them more than anything else. And I think that's where it must have taken you a bit of trial and error, because timing them is probably like the most difficult job. It kind of needs the most amount of patience. It's actually not difficult. It's just that you can only perfect that with trial and error. Correct?
Correct. So I recommend that anybody who's going to do this, pick a short word.
Yeah. So in fact, just to kind of give you guys a heads up, we've got templates on InVideo. If you search for kinetic typography, or if you search for the word kinetic in the search bar, you'll actually see a bunch of these kind of templates where there's there's text play that is happening, right? There's text art that is happening, but you can actually use those templates as is, and you can create some amazing things. But when our design team actually had to put it together the first time, right, they actually followed the exact same process, wherein they started from a blank canvas and every single element had to be timed. So if you are wanting to look at creating something that is super custom, it is a slightly more time consuming process, just by the virtue of the fact that there is so much micro tweaking that has to be done, right? But it's super simple is what we are trying to communicate here, right? Once you've understood the logic of where you can find what, I think it's super simple in terms of the foundational concept. And it's just about you putting in the time and effort to master it and to be able to perfect it, and then move on to the next one, right?
Right.
Okay, since we actually have access to this, can we move on to the second scene? I just want to quickly run over what happened in the second scene.
Okay, in the second scene, we just have that phrase that was at the top on the other scene, and I just simply picked an animation on how I wanted it to come in.
Yep.
I added this to make it a little bit different and kind of turned it a little bit, so it was a little different. And each one of these letters are the same letters that were on the previous scene. So I copied and pasted them in here, resized them, and set each one with its own animation, and then they fly out at the end.
Got it.
So when you're choosing your animations, that's where the left, right, up, and down come in handy, because you can make it look like a splash.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. So, could you actually hover over the animations tab? I actually wanted to show people all the animations that are available for them to use. So obviously there's in and out animation, and then there's in place animation. Now within in and out animation, you've got character, word, and line by line animations. What this means is how the sentence is going to come in, right? Melody, could you click on the character drop down? There you go. So this basically represents how do you want your sentence or your words to come in. Do you want them to come in word by word? Do you want them to come in character by character? That's usually what I'll take if I'm doing a typewriter effect or something like that. Then you can make sure that if your sentence is 2 lines, they come line by line, or you can make sure that the entire thing comes in at once, right? That's just the extent of how much text will come in at one point in time. But the real animation lies in the text box animation drop down and the text animation drop down. So text box animation is something that you'll use if you have a text box. In this case, we don't, but you can actually play around with that as well. So you can create very interesting possibilities on the lines of the fact that your text box comes in from the left and your text comes in from the right? And you can obviously give them a whole bunch of animation effects. Okay, so Melody, can you click on the fade in drop down? Yeah, so I wanted to just go skim through the animation effects that we have here, right? So you've got, if you hover on any one of these, it'll actually show you how that animation effect looks like, and then you've got a whole bunch of options, right? So for every animation style, you've got like multiple directions that you can take up. So again, these are literally like Instagram filters. I don't know how many of you actually use Instagram or Snapchat, but if you every time you want to put up a picture, right, you will just scroll through all the effects and pick up the one that makes it look the best, right? That's literally what is happening here as well. I think more often than not, it's not like it's an exact science wherein you'll go with the intention that you'll do it a certain way, right? More often than not, what you would do is you just play around with the different animation effects and then pick up the one that seems the best.
Right.
Awesome. Awesome. Melody, is there anything else that you wanted to add in terms of something that, is like this crazy hack that you've done that, most people wouldn't know about?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head, other than people simply need to be patient.
Yeah.
And don't start out with the idea that you're going to have a final finished project when you're finished.
Yep.
But one thing about the templates that you create is the fact that you can save that template. Now I can use this same exact template.
Yeah.
I can come back in here, change the letters, change
Yeah.
the words, but all the animations and the timing and everything is already set up.
Exactly. And the way to do that is you can just click on the layer. So if you hop onto layers, Melody, we can actually show them. So just click on the text box, right? So for example, if you want to change your main text, you can just click on that and it will select the text box in your canvas. And then you can just type in the revised text and everything else will just remain the same. There you go. Right? Now I can make it smaller, I can make it bigger, I can resize it, but the timing of when it comes in and when it goes out will remain the same as long as you don't mess around with that. Right? So that is how you would actually create one project which could potentially take you a day to build. But if it's this detailed and you're fairly confident about it, you can actually keep using that same style for a whole bunch of ads. You can keep changing your messaging every single time. You can keep changing your visuals, and you can actually keep changing this. So that's how you can almost templatize this project for yourself. This is not going to be available for anyone else. It's just a template that will be available for you, right?
And isn't that exactly what your design team does?
Yeah.
They create templates. They make them available for us. We go in and we change them. Well, you can do the same with your own templates.
Yeah, that's the idea. And very soon we are actually going to come up with with a feature where you should be able to save these templates as well. So you can save your projects as templates so that you don't actually have to go and access them from the My Projects page. But we're going to take some time to get there. So in the meanwhile, what you can do is, this is actually the very fundamental way of doing that, wherein you can go and just access the same project, open it in edit mode. You'll see that you can just uh, overwrite all the text, etc., that is there, and then have a completely new project with new text, right?
Right.
But awesome. So, Melody, I see that we've got a couple of comments here. So, David is saying that that's a great method. So artistic. Thanks for sharing. I
David.
couldn't. I honestly couldn't agree more. Chad is saying that he would love to be able to stretch the timeline vertically for more complex videos. I agree, Chad. I know what you're saying. You know, uh, there can be scope for more complex and more micro control on the timeline. And again, that's something that we are working on. We want it to be more intuitive, and it's just another round of iterations. But Chad, I'll definitely take this back to the team. I'll make sure that they know about this, and I know you use this exhaustively. So if you are saying this, I see why, where you're coming from, and I see the merit in it. So I'll definitely take it back to them. Uh, Kate says that she loves the idea of saving her own work as templates. I know, right? It's just going to be magical when you are able to do that. But you can actually already do that. Every single project that you export is in itself a template, if you think about it, because you can go and re-edit it and export a new video. But awesome. So we had Dan who joined us. Hey Dan, I'm hoping you're still around. Uh, we had social people who said that our team is learning so much. So I'm glad that this is being super helpful for you guys.
Can I
But yeah,
share something?
absolutely.
Okay, I put up a screen there. Kate is my friend that I walked through the process with, and she had only been with InVideo for maybe a week when I
Hmm.
walked her through the process, but she was able to go ahead one-on-one, and she was able to create her first video.
That's so cool. This is basically the exact same effect. It is basically the exact same structure.
Yeah, the same basic structure. She added her own animations. She created her own phrase and her own keyword. But I just basically walked her through it, and she learned a lot while she was at it. And but you can see the different way it can be applied by anybody.
Yeah, yeah. This is just beautiful because I feel like we can probably use this as a template for in video ads, right? Because we do sometimes play around with kinetic typography, but that's so cool, Melody. Thanks a lot for sharing that. I'm hoping that after this tutorial, a lot of people from the community are also able to do this. We'd love to actually share a link for your project's preview, right? So what you can do is, Melody, if you could be kind enough to drop in that link after the live, I think a lot of people can just access it and see it, and then take it from there.
Yeah, and
But
anybody wants to jump in a group or something and go step by step, I'm more than willing to do that. If you
uh,
really want to accomplish that, it's up to you. You can let me know.
awesome, awesome. So I am definitely going to trouble you because I know that when I try this, I might just need a couple of inputs. But again, guys, that's primarily why we did this live, because this recording is going to be available on the community, right? You can use the search bar on the community to search for Melodie Licht, and you'll actually find this video. And we'll also have it under the unit section, so you can access it at a later point in time. And when you do that, you will be able to pause this and play this and look at it at your own pace and understand all the elements, and then finish this step by step, right? And obviously, Melody is a part of the community. You can tag her if you get stuck somewhere. You can tag me,
Mhm.
but definitely give this a try because there's a lot of merit in the template itself. And Melody, what I'm also going to try and do is I will get the team to see if they can templatize this video in itself,
Oh,
right?
cool.
So
Yeah.
that, yeah, I mean, so people can kind of, this can save up a lot of time and effort for them, and they can probably use it the way that it is, right? But even then, I'm saying, guys, we would love to see your creations, right? Maybe you don't want to make it this complex. Maybe you just want to kind of pick up one of the animation effects that Melodie has showed today and kind of create your own video, right? Even if you can do that, I think that'll largely move the needle in terms of how your videos will look. So we'd be super keen to see how that pans out. And yeah, I mean, just send some love over to Melodie, because I think she's been amazing at taking us through this, and I'm so grateful for the fact that you've come on the show and showed us how you kind of built this video together.
And I also have a tutorial video that's less disruptive than this presentation, kind of takes you slowly one by one. So I'll post that in the group. So if people would like to.
100%. Please do. And when you do that, please put in a link for this live as well, so that people can actually look at the longer version as well.
I will do that.
Awesome, superb. With that, I think we are to the end of the show. I don't think we have a lot of questions, because clearly you've done a fantastic job at taking people through this, Melodie. Thanks a lot, everyone, again, for joining in. David, Kate,
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
yeah, Jackie, the old timers, Chad, thanks a lot for joining in. Esther, you guys usually show up for pretty much all of my shows. That's Kate basically tagging in the wrong Abhilash, but that's okay, Kate. I'm sure the other Abhilash is also super glad that you tagged him. But okay, so thanks a lot, Melodie, again for doing this. And just stick around for a minute while I basically let people know of what they can expect out of our show tomorrow, right? So we also have another show tomorrow with someone who's a very dear friend to us. She's an amazing creator in herself. So we are going to get Molly Mahoney on the show tomorrow. We've got another episode of Grow with InVideo. She's going to take us about anything and everything with regards to messenger bots, right? She's going to literally give us a blueprint on how you can set one up for your business. Now, if you think categorically that setting up a messenger bot needs you to know how to code, or it's super complex, trust me, you're going to be blown away by what she's going to tell you, because those were our apprehensions as well. And when we saw what was what is the potential for a messenger bot and what it can do for your business, and how easy it is to set it up once you understand the building blocks, it was crazy. I mean, we can't not use it now, right? In fact, we are currently in the process of putting one together for InVideo, which will go live in like the next week or so, right? So we urge you to come and join us there, even if you just want to understand the whole premise of what a messenger bot can do and not necessarily implement it immediately. And I promise you'll have a lot of fun. She's got some amazing energy. Her community loves her. So yeah, she's like the ideal fit to come on a live on InVideo, because that's how you guys are, right? So show us some love. Join us here tomorrow at 10 a.m. PST, and I think we'll have an amazing show. With that, Melodie, let's bid goodbye to everyone who joined us today, and I'll keep in touch with you on the community as usual. We keep talking all the time. So we're going to stay in touch there, and do share the video with us so people can actually learn from that after the live.
I want to see some examples, folks.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. I'm itching to see examples of people creating this. So for all old timers, I know Chad, I know David, all of you guys have a lot of capability in terms of doing this. If you actually sit down, you can probably rip something apart in about an hour's time. So please do that. So we create a chain of extremely amazing templates, and we love to templatize all of them, right? So with that, we bid goodbye. Thanks a lot for joining in, guys. We'll see you soon tomorrow at about 10 a.m. PST. And up until then, this is us signing off.
Bye-bye.